One of the disadvantage yesterday we discussed when op-amp is used in open loop configuration. In few applications that is advantage, but for a particular application that we can say it is a disadvantage, and that disadvantage we have to overcome by using somewhat negative feedback. So what is that disadvantage, or if the op-amp is used in open loop configuration, or we can say what are the limitations if op-amp is used in its open loop configuration? Can anyone, as per our yesterday's discussion? So see, in our previous discussion, we've seen that if we are considering somewhat sinusoidal signal, and if it is applied either to the inverting or non-inverting terminal of that op-amp, what kind of output we obtain if that op-amp is kept in its open loop configuration? What is the nature of output? Can anyone? See, during that lecture also, I highlighted that the points which we already discussed are very important. If you got it, then it will be very easy to work out the op-amp applications. If the input is applied to the inverting or non-inverting terminal as a sinusoidal wave with somewhat amplitude and frequency, what kind of output that op-amp provides to us if it is kept in open loop configuration? No one? The nature of output was saturated output. Yes or no? If that op-amp is used in open loop configuration, we observed the obtained output was a square wave with how much amplitude? It is 90% of plus VCC, and negative is again 90% of minus VEE. Right now, that means the nature of signal, it gets changed. Input we are considering as a sine wave, but the obtained output was square. It gets saturated. Why it gets saturated? Because we know the op-amp offers very high open loop gain. For 741, we discuss it as 2 into 10 raised to 5. Right now. So even if that input signal is very, very small, that op-amp, it amplifies it by 2 into 10 raised to 5 times. Correct. But the actual obtained output, we can't obtain as that applied input into 2 into 10 raised to 5 always, because that op-amp can provide the output maximum to its 90% of VCC. So all these points we already discussed in the previous lecture. Okay. Now, if the input is same, that is sinusoidal wave, we want the output again same, that is sinusoidal wave with somewhat amplification. That means to avoid the saturation of that applied input signal, we have to use the negative feedback. Right? The negative feedback, its disadvantage is it limits the gain or it decreases the gain. But that disadvantage, we can use it over here to control the open loop gain of op-amp, because it is very, very high. And that very high open loop gain, it is also useful for another applications, and that is nothing but just like comparator. That comparator we will discuss later on. Okay. So first of all, we'll see how to avoid the saturation of op-amp. And the first application, very basic application, that is nothing but inverting amplifier. Now see, as we are calling it as an amplifier, means the property of applied input signal, it should not get changed. Means what? If we are applying a sine wave, the obtained output should be sine. Its nature should not get changed. As well as we are calling it as amplifier, there should be somewhat amplification as compared to the input signal, right? Means with few amplification factor, we can obtain the output, and that's why we are calling it as an amplifier. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of inverting amplifier? So see, this is the symbol for op-amp. There are two terminals, input terminals. One is inverting and another one is non-inverting terminal. That is pin number 2 and pin number 3 respectively. While these two are the supply pins, that is plus VCC, pin number 7, and this one is minus VEE, that is nothing but pin number 4, and output pin, that is pin number 6. So these pin numbers you have to remember forever, okay? As long as we will want to consider that op-amp just like 741 conventional op-amp, okay? So see, what is the meaning of this inverting amplifier? Whatever input we will want to apply, that should be to the inverting terminal, so that the obtained output will be inverted output. Inverted output means there will be 180-degree phase shift. If we consider input as a time varying signal, for example, like a sine wave, then in case of inverting amplifier, during positive half of input, the obtained output will be negative, and vice versa. Similarly, instead of time varying, if we apply the input to the same terminal, that is inverting terminal, as a constant DC, for example, like plus 1 volt, then the obtained output will be amplification times or negative and amplification times of that input, that is 1. Right? So that is the meaning of inverting. So see, here I will consider that input signal, either DC or AC, that I will want to apply to the inverting pin like this. I will call it in general as a Vin, because this input signal may be AC signal or DC signal. It will not going to affect the operation of this amplifier. And this non-inverting pin or non-inverting terminal, I will make it ground. Okay. Now, to keep the control on the gain, open loop gain, as already I told, we will go on to prefer one feedback resistor across its input, inverting input pin and the output. It will be somewhat like this. And here we will get the output. Now, how much will be that output? That we have to derive today, right? So I will call this resistor as it is used in feedback path as RF. This one, as we can call it as R1 or you can call it as Rin, no issue. Now, there are two nodes. One is at non-inverting terminal. I will call it as node A, and at inverting terminal, this one as node B. Okay. Now, the current flowing through the inverting terminal, I will call it as I2. Current flowing through the non-inverting terminal, I will call it as I3. Similarly, current flowing from input signal source through this resistor R1, I will call it as I1. And current flowing through this feedback resistor like this from input to output, I will call it as IF. Note down these notations properly. Once you will understood all these things properly, then it will be very easy to you for the derivation part as well as for the proper understanding of applications of op-amp. Okay. So see, I will repeat it again. As our discussion is op-amp as an inverting amplifier, as we are calling it as amplifier, there should not be a saturation in the output to avoid the saturation in the output, we will going on to use a negative feedback. And that negative feedback, it is done by using one feedback resistor, that is RF, connected to the output and inverting terminal like this. As we are calling it as inverting amplifier, the input is applied to the inverting terminal. That is pin number 2, negative input. Okay. Then non-inverting terminal is remaining. So I will just make it ground. So that pin number 3 is at ground potential. The node formed at the inverting and non-inverting terminals. At non-inverting terminal, I will call that node as node A. At inverting terminal as node B. Now, various currents I shown, the current flowing through the non-inverting terminal, pin number 3, that's why I will call it as I3, current flowing through pin number 3. Similarly, inverting terminal, that is pin number 2, current flowing through it, I will call it as I2. Then at the input side, there is one resistor R1, input resistor. The current flowing through that input resistor R1, I will call it as I1. Similarly, there is again one more path for the current, and that is through feedback resistor RF. I will call that current as IF. So various currents I shown, and that input signal is applied to pin number 2 like this. Is it okay up to over here? Am I audible properly? Is it visible properly? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is it okay up to over here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very nice. Now, few points always you have to remember. In previous lecture, I already highlighted it, but again we want to repeat. Remember, as Ri, that is input impedance of op-amp, that is nothing but the impedance or resistance offered between the input terminal, that is pin number 2 and 3. Ideally, it is infinite. While analysis of any application, you have to consider all these points. So look it properly. As Ri is equals to infinite, the current flowing through pin number 2 towards pin number 3 and vice versa, that is from pin number 3 to pin number 2, that is nothing but I2 and I3 respectively, will be how much? I2 equals to I3 equals to 0. So input current of the op-amp generally it is considered as 0 because that op-amp ideally offers infinite input impedance. That is nothing but the impedance offered between pin number 2 and 3, or in general we can say between inverting and non-inverting terminal. Okay, this point you have to remember always. As Ri equals to infinite, I2 equals to I3 equals to 0. That is input current of the op-amp is 0. Then second point, most important, and that is nothing but virtual ground concept. Virtual ground means what? Potential at node A, or in general, potential at non-inverting terminal. Over here, I will say voltage at node A because I consider the node at non-inverting terminal, positive terminal as node A. So voltage at node A is always equals to voltage at node B. Or how much will be the potential at node B? If anyone asks you, your answer should be whatever the potential is applied to the non-inverting terminal. This is known as virtual ground concept. So these 2 points you have to remember always. Okay. Now we'll start the analysis. Looking towards this diagram and all that considerations, if you apply the KCL at node B, right? By applying KCL at node B, what will be that KCL? we can write I1 equals to IF plus I2, right now. Incoming current to the node is equals to outgoing current. There are two outgoing currents, that is I2 and IF. But already we mentioned due to infinite input impedance, I2 is always equals to 0. That means this term will be 0. Is it? Therefore, you can write I1 equals to IF. Is it okay? Is it okay up to over here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if we try to find out how much will be I1, say how the current is determined flowing through any path, that current is determined by taking the potential difference across that path divided by the resistance of that path. Right? See, I will take one simple example. Suppose there is somewhat plus VCC, one resistor is there and it is grounded directly. This is just example. The value of resistor is R, current flowing through that resistor is I. So how much will be the value of I? Can anyone? So simple, E equals to IR, yes or no? Therefore, over here also we can write I equals to V by R. Actually, it is not only V, it should be V minus 0 divided by R. V is nothing but VCC, right now. So you can write here VCC. Okay, so how much will be the I? It will be equals to potential difference across that path. Path is a somewhat resistive path, right now. So the potential difference is how much? VCC minus ground. Ground is nothing but 0. And that's why, in general, we are writing it like VCC by R. Is it clear? So the same rule you have to apply while determining various currents over here. So, if I ask how you will going to write the equation for I1, I1 equals to, can anyone? Can we write it like this?
VCC into RF.
V in minus VB divided by R1. I1 is what? Current flowing through R1, right now. And what is the potential difference across that R1? So that we can determine I1. Potential difference is over here to this terminal, V in is applied. Another terminal is at VB potential, right now. Is it clear? Node B voltage, we consider it as VB, right? Now, how much is the value of VA? Voltage at node A is how much? 0. It is grounded, right now. Node A, as it is grounded, that means VA is equals to 0. And what that virtual ground says? VA equals to VB, and that's why it will be equals to 0. Got it? Therefore, simply we can write I1 equals to V in by R1. Okay. Similarly, another equation we have to write for another current, that is IF. So how much will be IF? Can anyone? IF equals to, again, potential difference across that resistor divided by its resistance. Potential difference, that is nothing but VB minus VO, right now. So IF equals to voltage at node B as it is connected to node B and output. Is it? So the potential difference across that resistor is nothing but VB minus VO divided by resistance of that resistor, that is RF. Correct? Yes or no? how much is the value of VB by virtual ground concept? That VB is 0. It is noted over here as V equals to VB, as V is at 0 potential, ground potential. So VB will be at the same, and that is nothing but 0. And hence, we can write that IF equals to minus VO by RF. Consider this first current equation I1 as equation number 1, and this one as second. Okay. Now, already initially we noted I1 equals to IF. Right now, this I1 is equals to, actually by applying KCL, you will observe that I1 equals to I2 plus IF due to infinite input impedance. We already mentioned that Ri is infinite, and that's why input current, that is I2 or I3, both will be 0, and hence I1 is equals to IF. That means incoming current is equals to outgoing current. So simple, right? So here you have to write as I1 is equals to IF. That means you have to use these two equations now, right? So here you can write, therefore, V in by R1 is equals to minus VO by RF. Got it? Is it visible properly, whatever I am writing on blackboard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So by equalizing that equation 1 and 2, we will get V in by R1 equals to minus VO by RF, right? Now, what is the closed loop gain? Looking towards this diagram, if we consider that closed loop gain as A, V and F, F stands for with feedback. You are familiar now, very well, right now. Only AV, it stands for, it is an open loop gain, there is no feedback. And if F is written, then it stands for what? Gain with feedback. So I will call that AVF is equals to what? Simply VO by V in. Right now, looking towards the diagram, this output voltage divided by applied input. So we are interested in actually this ratio, that is VO by V in. So is it possible to obtain that ratio from this previous equation? Therefore, you can call this one as equation number 3. So by just rearranging the terms in equation number 3, we can write VO by V in is equals to minus RF by R1. Check it. Correct? And therefore, what we have to write, for inverting amplifier, its closed loop gain, that is AVF, is equals to minus RF by R1. Or you can write how much will be the output voltage. That output voltage, it will be equals to minus RF by R1 times of V in. During your last year, you might have derived these two equations, right? Is it clear? So what is the gain of inverting amplifier in closed loop configuration? It is simply RF by R1. That negative sign, it indicates what? There will be 180-degree phase shift between input and output. And that's why we are calling it as an inverting amplifier, right? So, few points you can highlight over here. Which are those? The gain of inverting amplifier, it is independent of open loop gain, first point, which is most important. Note down it at your end. The gain of inverting amplifier is independent of its open loop gain. See, you will not want to observe that AV term over here. AVF is nothing but what? It is a gain with feedback. So that gain with feedback of this inverting amplifier, it is independent of open loop gain of op-amp, that is AV, which is generally very, very high right now. Second point, the gain can be easily adjusted by selecting proper values of only two resistors, that is feedback resistor RF and R1. Whatever gain you required, that you can simply obtain by selecting the proper values of feedback resistor and input resistor. And third point, which you have to remember, there is 180-degree phase shift between input and output. If it is sine wave, then the output will be 180-degree phase shifted sine wave with amplification, that is RF by R1 times. If it is a DC signal, this V in, then the obtained output will be negative with RF by R1 times of that applied input. Is it clear? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll take one simple example so that again it will be very clear to you. Suppose I want, or if I decided to use plus minus VCC of 12 volt to operate this inverting amplifier, correct? If my input signal is 1 millivolt peak signal with somewhat frequency, we will take it as 1 kilohertz frequency. That means it is a, suppose, sine wave with 1 millivolt peak amplitude and 1 kilohertz frequency. And my powering voltage to the op-amp is plus minus 12 volt. Right. My question is it possible to obtain the output as 12 volt peak? Is it possible to obtain the output at 12 volt peak? What do you think? What do you think? No one? See, during my previous lecture, I continuously used to say VO maximum possible from op-amp circuit is how much? Maximum VO possible is how much? It is 90% of VCC. Yes or no? That's why initially I decided to use that power supply of plus minus 12 volts. So how much will be it? 90%. 90% of 12 volts. It will be 10.8 volts. Yes or no? So whatever may be the gain you manage by using this RF and R1, maximum possible peak voltage, it will be 10.8. We can't exceed it. But if, and that is the limitation, even if the gain of op-amp is very high, we can't obtain the output very, very high by using very, very small input. Why? Because that output later on it gets saturated. The maximum obtained output practically from any op-amp, it is 90% of its VCC. Got it or not? Okay. If I want, now as I know the maximum obtained output will be 10.8 volt for the shown circuit. If I want the output same, that is 10.8 volt max peak. If I consider this RF, for example, like 10 kilo ohm, can we determine the value of R1 so that I can obtain VO as 10.8 volt peak from 1 millivolt peak? Can we obtain it? It's so simple. Just use this
Yes,
formula.
sir.
So simple. Use this formula. Don't consider that negative sign. Otherwise, your answer for R1 will be minus. And resistor value never goes to negative. Okay. That negative sign, it indicates only it gets inverted. That is 180-degree phase shift. So try to find out the value of R1 so that by using the shown circuit, I can obtain the output at 10 volt peak by using input at 1 millivolt peak. I consider feedback resistor of 10 kilo ohms. R1 equals to fast. U is 10.8 that we are expecting equals to RF, or you just keep that minus sign over there. RF, we consider it as a 10K divided by R1 that we have to determine, and V in, it is 1 millivolt peak. How much will be the value? Do it firstly. So simple.
926 ohm.
How much? 326 ohm. How much?
926.
Okay, 926 ohm. Right now. Now, my next question is, I want that output voltage 10.8 volt peak to peak. When that VO requirement of 10.8 volt peak, R1 is equals to 926 ohms. Now my second requirement is equals to 10.8 volt peak to peak. Will it remain same or will it change? R1 will remain same or will it change? Don't know? Yes, it will get changed. Why? Because initially we consider that output signal in terms of its peak value only, like this. So this is known as peak value, and that was considered as 10.8. Right now. Second requirement is 10.8 volt peak to peak. Means this peak value, single peak value, it will be of 5.4 volt. Yes or no? So that peak to peak it will become 10.8. Means in this calculation, if you want to keep that V in terms of peak, that is 1 millivolt peak, you have to convert this 10.8 volt peak to peak into only peak, and that will be 5.4. Then you can take the ratio. Otherwise, take it as it is, that is 10.8 volt peak to peak, and input, convert it into peak to peak, so that it will become 2 millivolt peak to peak. Right? Again, try it and calculate. How much is the value of R1 to have output voltage at 10 volt peak to peak? Unable to determine that R1 for the output as 10 volt peak to peak. That means you have to consider VO in terms of peak, and that will be 5.4. If you consider that input as in terms of peak. Am I audible? See, be remain interactive. Otherwise, from next lecture, I will start using PowerPoint. Huh? If you are not interested, then it will be very simple to me to complete or to cover your syllabus. If you are not taking interest, okay. Now the next application is non-inverting amplifier. So looking towards this diagram, and by applying our simple few logics, you will observe why it is known as, first of all, non-inverting, because the input, again, either time varying or DC signal, it is applied to the non-inverting terminal. As it is applied to the non-inverting terminal, the obtained output, it will be in phase. Right? In case of previous one, that obtained output gets inverted. Or we can say there is 180-degree phase shift. That's why we are calling that previous one as a inverting amplifier. Now this one is non-inverting, means the input is applied to the non-inverting terminal as shown over here, and inverting terminal, it is grounded through resistor R1. To keep the control on the gain, again feedback resistor RF is used like this. Again, all that considerations are same. That is virtual ground concept. Now see what will be the difference between that previous considerations. In previous one, as non-inverting terminal was grounded, we consider that VA equals to VB equals to 0. But in this case, what you have to write? VA equals to VB equals to V in, because that non-inverting terminal is not grounded now. That input signal, it is applied to the non-inverting terminal right now. And that's why that VA is equals to V in. And same potential we have to consider at node B. Right? There will be a current. Suppose this one is IF, feedback current flowing from output to input side. Here it will be again I2, as this is pin number 2. Okay. This one is I3, pin number 3, that is non-inverting, and somewhat current will left to resistor R1, and that we will call it as I1. So what will be the change? I2 equals to I3 equals to 0 as it is. VA equals to VB equals to V in by virtual ground concept, and by applying KCL to node B, IF equals to I2 plus I1. Right. Again, as I2 is equals to 0, you will get the same equation, that is IF equals to I1 as that of previous. And whenever you will solve for I1 separately and IF, and whenever you will compare it, try to obtain the closed loop gain for the shown amplifier, that is non-inverting amplifier. If you got it, it's okay. Otherwise, in the next lecture, I will derive it. I will show you how much is the closed loop gain of this non-inverting amplifier. Okay? Just wait for a few seconds.